Have you ever felt that the moon hides deeper secrets than its crater suggests? What if I told you that, right now, she's about to break every rule we know? We are not just talking about its phases or the attraction it exerts on the tides. We are on the cusp of a phenomenon so rare and unpredictable that it could challenge everything we know about its influence. What happens when the moon, so familiar and constant, transforms into a rebellious force, interacting with energies that echo from the unknown? While science struggles to understand, the most sensitive feel the universe vibrate differently. Prepare yourself for a journey that explores not just heaven, but the threshold between the real and the spiritual. The moon will not just be observed, it will be felt on a visceral level. Are you ready to face what she has to reveal to you? The moon, symbol of cycles and rebirth, guardian of nocturnal mysteries, has always followed a rhythm that calms and fascinates. But what if one day she stopped following that beat? When the moon decides to break its cycle, we dive into a territory that few dare to explore, a domain where the spiritual meets the ethereal and challenges the structures of reality. It is not a simple astronomical disturbance. It is a cosmic rupture that reverberates on invisible levels, echoing through the soul and time. Such rebellious behavior suggests something profound, an emerging force, acting as a catalyst for changes that reverberate beyond the physical plane. Ancient traditions have always associated lunar changes with omens of transformation. For those who look beyond the obvious, this is a calling. Could it be the moon responding to influences from spheres that we do not fully understand? A subtle dance of forces that escapes us, an alignment of energies that strains the rules we know. Perhaps this rebellion is a reminder that balance is a temporary illusion and that, in its indomitable movement, the moon forces us to see our connection with something greater, a pulsating and unpredictable whole. It's not enough to observe. It is necessary to feel and interpret its consequences, seeking answers where reason hesitates and intuition flourishes. The moon, by its nature, has always been the silent guardian of the cycles of light and shadow, a constant reflection of the celestial dances that inspired legends and rituals. Now, something different is unfolding. A spiritual explosion is pulsing on the lunar horizon, as if invisible forces are colliding to rewrite cosmic harmony. It is not mere poetry or myth. It is an ethereal phenomenon that reverberates through the energetic fabric that connects us. This clash of forces can have profound implications, altering the flow of energies that influence everything from our intuition to patterns of collective behavior. Have you felt anything strange this week? But what does such a drastic break in a symbol of constancy mean? For those who look beyond the tangible, this collision is a reminder that stability is a delicate dance between visible and invisible forces. When the moon absorbs and responds to an unpredictable wave of energy, its effects can be felt on Earth, in moments of synchronicity and inexplicable impulses. Those who are more attentive may notice an amplification in their perception, as if a temporary portal to the ethereal is opening, allowing insights that previously escaped the mind. And you? Did you notice something similar? Comment below. This spiritual explosion is not just a distant spectacle, but a direct interaction with what surrounds and shapes us. Would it be an awakening, a cosmic push to break our own bonds of understanding? Or would it be a test, an invitation to explore the hidden side we avoid? The moon, in its mysterious glow, brings the veiled answer. It takes courage to read it. The shadow effect in the cracked veil is not just a poetic metaphor. It is a description of a subtle but powerful phenomenon that can go unnoticed by less attentive eyes. When we talk about disturbances in the lunar energy fields, we are touching on something that alters the very frequency of reality. Imagine that the moon, with its almost hypnotic influence on our lives, suddenly suffers a disturbance. These energetic fissures create rifts that we don't see, but feel, shaping how we perceive the world around us. It is as if, for an instant, the veil between our plane and other realities becomes porous, allowing echoes of what lies beyond to cross the border. These moments of cracking the veil bring to light an intensified perception, a look that cuts through the banality of everyday life and reaches deeper layers of existence. You may feel a change in the atmosphere, a chill that runs across your skin for no apparent reason, or even notice patterns that previously went unnoticed. Sensitives call this the opening of the third eye, while skeptics dismiss it as an illusion. However, when these disturbances happen, even the most rational observer is forced to recognize that there is something beyond the tangible. What the moon reveals in these moments is not just light, but a bold invitation to explore the shadows it hides, a reminder that there is more between heaven and earth than our eyes are capable of capturing. Halos and impossible reflections that surround the moon are not just beautiful phenomena to observe. They are signs, fragments of a language that the modern world has forgotten how to decipher. When these phenomena occur, they act as encrypted messages coming from an ethereal domain that touches the visible and spiritual. Imagine a silver halo that expands around the moon on a seemingly ordinary night, but with a distinct vibration, a frequency that seems to resonate with something deep within our being. Sensitives describe these moments as portals of perception, where what is hidden and repressed in the collective consciousness begins to emerge in subtle but powerful ways. What few understand is that these phenomena are not just plays of light. They are the result of energetic interactions that defy direct understanding. On nights of intense halos, some report feeling a sharp intuition, a whisper from the mind that tells them to take a closer look. It is in these moments that the real and the unreal meet, creating a bridge that can distort our perception of time and space. What appears to be a simple visual distortion may, in fact, be a sign of a greater synchronicity, a cosmic choreography that unites events in a way that escapes logic. For the ancients, halos around the moon were omens, good or bad, depending on the culture, but always important. With our eagerness for concrete explanations, we easily discard the mystical in favor of the measurable. However, ignoring these manifestations is missing the chance to understand the world beyond the obvious. They are reminders that reality is not as solid as we think. It is permeable, moldable, and the moon, with its encrypted messages, is there for those who dare to decipher them. Cosmic pressure is a concept that intertwines with the spiritual and the invisible, acting as a subtle but powerful force that permeates our planet. When cosmic pressure points intensify, Earth responds in ways that transcend predictable natural cycles. Imagine an invisible network connecting celestial bodies, where every movement resonates in synchrony. If this network is stretched beyond balance, we are facing an awakening, a realignment that can shake physical and energetic structures. This is not mere fatalism, but an understanding that the cosmos and the Earth dance in unison. Seismic events or unusual climate changes are not just isolated phenomena, but can be reflections of this accumulated cosmic tension. Ancient civilizations understood that the Earth, when pressured by celestial forces, spoke in a language of storms and tremors. We tend to ignore these signs or reduce them to simplistic explanations, forgetting that our world is permeated by layers of interconnected energies. What could be more audacious than accepting that the Earth, as a living organism, responds to influences that we cannot fully measure? If the cosmic pressure continues to intensify, perhaps we will witness not just physical changes, but a call to rediscover our relationship with the universe, a reminder that deep down, we are part of a pulsating, conscious whole. The moon has always been seen as the guardian of human secrets, a silent witness that influences our moods, inspires poets and intrigues scholars. But when their energies reach extreme peaks, what happens to our collective mind? The link between these intense phases and outbreaks of unpredictable human behavior is a field that defies simple explanations. Ancient records and modern accounts point to a pattern that connects lunar strength to abrupt changes in entire communities. Cities can transform into cauldrons of emotions, as if the energy emanating from the moon finds resonance in the invisible tensions of the human psyche. This dance of insanity, as some call it, transcends the spiritual and flirts with concrete reality. Hospitals report increases in admissions during full moons. Impulsive crimes seem to emerge at times when the moon exudes its strongest presence, and even protests unexpected things come to life, driven by an agitation that no one knows exactly where it comes from. Could the moon be a mirror that amplifies our deepest and unresolved emotions? What is fascinating, and even audacious to consider, is that these reactions are not just biological or social responses. They suggest that there is an invisible layer of energetic communication between humanity and cosmic forces. It's not just superstition, it's a dance between the macrocosm and the microcosm, a reminder that our bodies and minds are threads connected to a universal fabric. In moments of extreme lunar energy, the boundaries between reason and emotion become blurred, exposing the primal nature that still pulses within us, hidden beneath the facade of civilization. What does the moon evoke in us during these peaks? Perhaps it is an invitation to face what we repress and recognize that, deep down, the external chaos reflects the internal complexity of each person. Imagine a world where the lunar influence is not just limited to tides and human moods, but extends to the very backbone of our modern civilization, technology. When the moon emits its most intense energetic fluctuations, some suggest that its effects go beyond what we can measure in emotions or natural phenomena. From this perspective, we must ask ourselves, to what extent can these forces impact our digital systems? Could we, in fact, face an era of inexplicable technological failures, triggered by a force as ancient as it is enigmatic? These energy fluctuations, still poorly understood, can act as an invisible catalyst that affects the stability of communication networks, satellites, and even complex algorithms. These aren't just ordinary electrical fluctuations. It is a subtle interaction between the Earth's magnetic field, reinforced by lunar energy, and the systems that sustain our hyper-connected world. Experts in bioelectricity and atmospheric physics have been discussing how cosmic forces can interfere with the frequencies that power our devices. Whether this link is concrete or conjecture is still up for debate. But what we cannot deny is that, in an era so dependent on technology, any disturbance can have significant repercussions. The moon, as guardian of mysteries, is perhaps the reminder that no matter how advanced we are still vulnerable to the forces that have always been above us. Talking about the moon's influence is delving into layers of perception that defy our common understanding. When the peaks of lunar vibration reach their apex, it is not just the tides that respond. Our own brain waves seem to resonate with this subtle energy. There are reports and studies that indicate that lunar frequencies can cause states of hyperconsciousness, where intuition is sharpened and insights emerge with an almost supernatural clarity. In contrast, these same spikes can induce moments of confusion, where logical reasoning disintegrates and the boundaries between the real and the ethereal become hazy. Science is still in its infancy in trying to understand the totality of external influences on our brain functions. However, those who explore the spiritual have claimed for centuries that the moon has the power to alter mental and emotional states. During these periods, sensitives report feeling an almost mystical awakening, while others experience vivid, disorienting dreams. These states, provoked by lunar frequencies, serve as a reminder that our mind is a sensitive instrument, receptive to forces that act beyond the visible. It is not just mystical theory. It is a dance between the human being and the cosmic vastness that surrounds us, an echo of the ancestral understanding that consciousness is malleable, shaped by rhythms that go beyond our earthly understanding. When the moon reaches its energetic peaks, something subtle and disconcerting seems to unfold. The veil that separates our reality from other dimensions, generally dense and resistant, can weaken, as if breathing to the rhythm of the cosmos. During these moments, the invisible becomes tangible for those willing to feel. Could these be the portals through which visions of other worlds emerge, fragments of realities that normally remain beyond our reach? For many sensitives and spiritual explorers, the answer is clear: yes. Ancient esoteric texts and oracular traditions already mention these lunar doors, moments when the borders between planes became porous. During these phases, reports of visions, experiences of intensified déjà vu, and a feeling that reality has, for a moment, wavered are common. These are periods in which logic hesitates, giving space for the mystical to take shape. But what is this veil, anyway? It's not something we can measure or capture. It is the membrane that delimits what we understand as real and what we dismiss as illusion. When lunar energy affects you, an opening occurs, a rare moment when the worlds touch. It is as if the moon serves as a bridge between the tangible and the ethereal, allowing murmurs of parallel realities to reach our consciousness. If we observe closely, we will notice that in these energy peaks, inexplicable phenomena, strange lights in the sky, shadows that shouldn't be there, sounds that seem to whisper meanings, are more frequent. And for those who accept the challenge of seeing beyond the obvious, these moments are invitations. Invitations to question our perception, to admit that perhaps the barriers between here and beyond are thinner than we like to imagine. Whoever dares to explore these portals may discover that the true border between worlds is not outside us, but within. In ancient times, there were reports of an awakening moon, a specific and rare phase in which the moon went from being just a passive observer to becoming a catalyst for profound events. Myths and forgotten prophecies tell of nights when its glow took on an unusual tone, a light that seemed to whisper long-lost truths. These stories, intertwined across distinct and distant cultures, suggested that when the moon enters a state of awakening, the world as we know it can undergo intense physical, spiritual, and mental transformations. These prophecies, once relegated to the field of folklore, may be unfolding before our eyes, more real than we ever imagined. Sensitives and mystics, aligned with ancestral wisdom, claim that we are living through one of these cycles of revelation. The signs? The rise of unexplained phenomena, a collective unrest, and the feeling that we are on the brink of a new era. The moon of awakening is described as the moment when the hidden truth emerges, when what was obscured by everyday life becomes impossible to ignore. The bold thing is to accept that these revelations are not mere daydreams, but echo something primal in our existence. The ancient prophecies did not predict destruction, but rather an invitation, the opportunity to see beyond, to rediscover connections that the rational mind strives to deny. The moon, in its enigmatic glow, may be more than a celestial body. It may be the key to an awakening that transcends time and challenges the barriers of understanding. The challenge is, are we ready to hear what she has to say? Animals, often seen as simply instinctual creatures, are in fact the most sensitive sensors in the natural world. When lunar forces reach peaks of intensity, animal behavior can become a true oracle of cosmic chaos. It is as if, suddenly, a hidden and invisible symphony plays, and only they are able to hear its notes. Dogs that bark into space, birds that change their flight patterns, and felines that observe shadows that we cannot see are all signs of a response to something that escapes us. Ancient myths and modern observations meet here. Ancestral cultures already claimed that animals could feel changes in the ether, anticipating earthquakes, storms, and more subtly lunar oscillations. These anomalous behaviors are a reminder that there is a constant dialogue between the earth and the celestial bodies, one that we, with our logical and disconnected minds, neglect. What do animals know that we don't? Perhaps they are tuned to frequencies we have lost, able to pick up on dissonance when the cosmos sends a warning. If we stop to observe, These small signs are clues to a greater harmony, a dance between visible and invisible forces that only the most attentive can decipher. Thus, the answer may be before us, in attentive looks and movements that do not lie. The earth speaks and the animals, its messengers, respond. Moonlight, often seen simply as a source of nighttime beauty, carries a deeper, more disturbing potential. At moments of lunar energy peaks, a phenomenon occurs that defies simple explanations, a collective awakening, a shared energy that seems to reverberate in the masses. It is no coincidence that unexpected social movements and protests often coincide with these periods of intense lunar activity. What motivates this sudden impulse? Perhaps it is a response to a spiritual call that the moon emits, a resonance that affects not just individuals, but entire communities. Ancient stories and myths already indicated that the light of the moon had the power to stir the human soul, stirring the waters of collective consciousness. We see this translated into an almost unsettling synchrony between the phase of the moon and large-scale human behavior. What many perceive as simple social unrest may actually be the manifestation of a collective energetic field in resonance with the cosmos. This phenomenon makes us question whether the energy we share is more real than we would like to admit, a force that moves invisible but tangible, driven by something that transcends the rational. The moon, with its subtle influence, can act as a conduit that amplifies repressed feelings and latent desires. At the peaks of her energy, she seems to break the barriers of conformity and awaken an urgency in the masses, as if each one unconsciously heard the same ancestral whisper. This light, which passes through the layers of the skin and reaches the core, can be seen as a reminder that we are all connected by invisible threads, capable of responding together to a calling that we do not fully understand. Perhaps it is the cosmos, through the moon, saying that there are moments when inertia must give way to collective action, that we are part of a symphony that never stops playing. Déjà vu, that strange and disconcerting feeling of having lived a moment before, has always fascinated the human mind. But what if we told you that these phenomena, which some dismiss as mere neurological failures, could be amplified during the moon's most intense phases? This raises the question: is the reality we perceive as solid as we believe, or are there subtle cracks that expand in periods of high lunar energy? For those who observe with a closer look, the moon's energy spikes seem to coincide with an increase in logic-defying experiences, feelings of déjà vu, glitches in the perception of time and moments when the very linearity of life falters. Ancient esoteric traditions suggested that the moon was not just a celestial body, but a mirror that reflects more than light. It reflects dimensions of consciousness that are normally hidden. During its most intense phases, the structure of what we call reality can become more malleable, and that which is beyond our mental reach takes visible form. Could this be proof that reality, far from being fixed, is permeated by layers and vibrations that sometimes overlap, creating these faults? The concept of a glitch in reality, common in modern discussions, may be more than a metaphor. It could be a glimpse that the universe operates with codes that don't always follow predictable logic. Lunar cycles, with their ability to influence the human mind and the surrounding environment, can act as a catalyst, exposing these loopholes. Thus, what we perceive as small deviations, like déjà vu, are perhaps echoes of a broader truth, that the fabric of existence is malleable and we respond to forces far beyond what our senses allow us to capture. When the moon reaches energy peaks, its brightness appears to surpass its function of illuminating the night sky and becomes a beacon that resonates with dimensions beyond the visible. In this state of high intensity, many report capturing echoes, sounds and sensations that seem to come from another side, as if reality were an instrument that vibrates under the same note played in multiple spheres. These echoes can be perceived by sensitive minds as murmurs or fleeting images that appear on the edge of peripheral vision. But what were these manifestations? Messages, warnings, or fragments of a broader, hidden truth? Ancient traditions and modern esoteric practices converge on the idea that the moon is a portal, a point of convergence between the known and the unknown. During its high-energy phases, the barrier separating our dimension from others becomes thinner, allowing subtle resonances to cross back and forth, what we call inexplicable intuitions. Symbolic dreams or intensified sensations of déjà vu can be manifestations of these resonances, echoes of realities that coexist with ours, but that we rarely perceive. Were these fragmented captures a warning, an attempt at communication, or just a reflection of a multidimensionality that is always present, but amplified by the cosmic dance of the moon? It's intriguing to think that these echoes may carry veiled meanings, pushing us to reconsider the rigidity of our understanding of time and space. What if the universe, through lunar energy, was whispering to us that what we call reality is just one layer of a vaster, interconnected whole? These moments of high energy are invitations for the most curious and daring to question themselves. What are we capturing from beyond, and why do we only hear it when the moon speaks loudest? The moon, silent and constant, has always served as a bridge between the tangible and the ethereal. But when she begins sending signals that resonate beyond the tides and touch the collective consciousness, we are confronted with an unsettling truth. She may be a prophetess of a new age. These signs, moments when your energy intensifies and we feel an inexplicable agitation, seem to be more than astronomical coincidences. They are omens, whispers that transformations are approaching. What does the moon try to tell us? It can be a wake-up call to recognize that the changes are not just external, but internal and profound. Science is silent about the impact of this resonance, but ancient mystics and scholars already knew. When the moon speaks, you need to listen. Could this be a warning that we need to align ourselves with nature and the cosmos before harmony is lost? Or perhaps a reminder that we are part of something bigger, an invitation to embrace the transformation that will inevitably come? The moon watches us and, in its silence, prophesies. The moon, with its eternal mystery and subtle influence, is much more than a celestial object. She is a messenger who invites us to reflect on our connection with the cosmos and the essence of what makes us human. By paying attention to the signals it sends, we are challenged to expand our perception and question what else is hidden beyond what we see. Whether these messages are omens, invitations, or warnings is up to each of us to interpret and decide how to react. Now, I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever felt that the moon influences more than just the tides? Share your experiences and insights in the comments. And if you want to continue exploring these fascinating mysteries and discoveries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your participation is essential to keep this journey alive. Until the next exploration,